Hey everybody, Steve Gamache with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And what we have this time, it's so long I had to spill it over into the other sheet, so a little gap there. But Takayuki VG-10 hammered Damascus wa, or Japanese handled Santoku 170 millimeter knife. So what this has is the core cutting edge steel. In the center is VG-10 full stainless steel, heat treat about 60 Rockwell. Good standard steel used in tons and tons of kitchen knives. And what they've done is taken a multi-layered soft stainless cladding on either side of that, and they have wrapped that on either side, and then that cladding has a lot of stuff going on, so it's got some hammering in it, and then it's also layers. So once they take and they've done the hammering and then they grind it down towards the edge, you can see those layers start to pop, and they've got a little bit of maybe a light acid etch to it to bring those layers out possibly, or I'm not sure exactly how they're doing the finish on that. Then you can see the squiggly line there is basically the cladding line where the cladding stops and the core steel peeks out towards the edge. So weight and dimensions on these will be pretty similar from knife to knife, but they can vary a little bit. This particular one is 126 grams or 4.4 ounces, edge length about 172 or 6.8 inches. Overall length about 316 millimeters. Spine thickness, I got 2.1 just pretty much all the way down. So it's a little hard to measure with the dimples in there with the hammering, but it's about 2.1, 2.0 all the way down. And then we don't have a lot of taper. It just pretty much keeps that until you hit the grind. You can easily see where the standard flats come in and the grind starts, because you can start to see the layers there and the different finish variations. And so what you have is kind of a continuous taper known as a distal taper that starts thinning down, and you can see it gets pretty thin at the tip. So they've done a pretty high performance grind on that tip there. And then here's what it looks like from the back side. This is called the choil, the back of the blade, and you can see it's got a pretty high performance grind, so it gets thin at the tip as well. Blade height about 46.5 millimeters at the back, and the handle is a well executed octagonal. It's pretty rectangular. It is 8-faceted, but there's not a huge facet on the corner, so it's a little more rectangular. It is maple with a brown packwood, dyed packwood, which is a stabilized wood product ferrule on it, and it's got a nice warm kind of buttery look to the maple. Looks like a pretty clean glue job into the front of the handle with the tang there to seal that up nicely. And fit and finish is good on there. I've got a little bit of a step here between these two, but that can vary from handle to handle. They've got a bit of a polish and finish to it, so it's a nicely executed handle. Circumference, right where the two materials meet, is about 74 millimeters or slightly under 3 inches. And you can see the width of the neck here is about the same as the handle, pretty close. So there's not a big like crook there for your finger on a pinch grip. You just kind of put it right where the front of the handle is, and it's slight difference, but almost a little bit continuous there. And then you can just grab it in a pinch grip. So where is the balance point going to fall? That handle's not the world's lightest handle, so their balance point is right about there, which is slightly behind where a pinch grip would be from probably most people. So my pinch grip is more up here. So still a fairly neutral feel to the balance point. These have consistent, well-executed fit and finish on them. This is going to be a little hard to get a beauty shot because there's so many things going on here. Man, I don't know what to do with that. Let's just try that. Maybe a little closer. So as you can see, they've got a fair amount of polish to this. This makes it a little bit hard for the reflections. They've got etched kanji, a name, and wish they wouldn't put made in Japan on there. We know they are, but anyway, pet peeve of mine. But this is a little bit more of a knife for the masses, although it's really well done. So don't let that stop you. I've got a friend who's got a very similar knife to this, and in a I think it might be a Santoku as well, but it's a good solid performing knife. It's done well for years for him. So there's your layers coming down. There's your core steel. Here's the left side of the blade. I may just use this for my shot. We'll see. And they've done a little bit of a polish on the spine, or rounding of the corners, and they've done a little bit of a, not much, but just a little bit of rounding. I might even do that more if it were my knife, but looks like they've touched the edge just a little bit to round the sharp edges off of there so it's comfortable. This, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 on my scale for edges out of the box, so it's pretty darn sharp out of the box. You've got a fairly stiff blade. It's a little bit of flex towards the front, but not much. I'd say overall it's pretty darn stiff. And it's just a pretty good balanced performer. Let's look at our profile. The profile is a good all-around Santoku profile. Not particularly curvy, not particularly super flat, just pretty flexible. Little bit of belly towards the tip. I'm getting right in there where the tip wants to start digging in. So definitely rock over smaller product, shorter product. And not a lot of flat on it, but a little bit, maybe just a touch flatter at the back, but not much. So pretty much just kind of gentle rocking, push-pull cuts, glide cuts. You could do tip draws with this without too much trouble. So I wouldn't say it's a chopper, but other than that, it's a pretty versatile profile. So they have just real good looking, good performing package that's a solid, again, solid performer. Got a nice handle on it, just a nice package. So this is the Takayuki VG-10 hammered Damascus wa, or Japanese handled Santoku 170 millimeter knife.